Hi, welcome to Ladies of Another View on Beck. Thanks for joining us today. And we have Amy and April also joining us. And we have a special guest that is coming to us from Rame, North Dakota, and her name is Brandy Getz. Welcome to the show, Brandy.
Thank you.
Brandy is, we had a conversation earlier in the week, and I'm so excited to have her on because she is a mindset coach. What is a mindset coach? Why don't you tell us?
Mindset coach is kind of on the same lines as a life coach. You help people with their everyday life and everyday struggles in life.
And you know, the reason I wanted to have Brandy on is I think we all struggle one way or another.
Yep.
And, you know, the world is challenging in a lot of different ways. You got the whole COVID thing going on. Politics is so divisive. And we'll talk about the hard things, but we're always are trying to be positive and still, you know, look forward to waking up the next morning and enjoying the day. And so I thought, Brandy, you really focus on helping people to overcome some of the negativity, to be more positive. How about you tell us your background and how did you get to this point to begin with?
Well, when I was younger, quite a bit younger, when I was in grade school, I always liked to help people, and I always was told, you get that backlash a little bit of people telling you, don't stick your nose in it, don't you might need to mind your own business. But I always still had that pull, like something was telling me that what you're doing is helping people. And I struggled a little bit as I got older with that because I was always told to mind my own business. So I got into network marketing actually, and that pushed me into or out of my comfort zone into really looking at how I could improve myself and then how I could use that to help improve others too. I'm also a massage therapist too, so I listened to. I mean, if you've gone into a massage therapist, you have a tendency to share a lot of things that you wouldn't share with other people. So that also kind of made me think, how could I help people even more? And I started getting into reading different books on like Think and Grow Rich or The Hidden Power by Thomas Troward, which that is really deep, and you almost need help studying those books because they're not just a book that you sit down and read. You really have to study them. I actually have one here in front of me, and as you can see,
Oh my
there's a
gosh.
lot
Wow.
a lot of notes, and that probably makes a lot of people cringe, like, oh my god, she wrote in her books. Yeah, you when you read these kind of books, you have to write down your thoughts, and putting it in the book actually helps you to refresh your mind and your memory on the things that you've studied. I did take a course. Go ahead, sorry.
I, no, go ahead. I have a question when you're done, but go ahead.
Okay. I did take a course, actually 14 times, and people look at me like I'm crazy when I say that number because why would you take a course? Did you fail it? No, I didn't fail it. It's one of those courses where you take it, repetition creates awareness, and the more you take it, the more you get out of it, the more you see things in yourself that you didn't realize you kind of ignored or put on the back burner, or things that you needed to work on that you eventually do work through.
What I
So
liked about some of our conversation when you said that you had a lot of insecurities that you've overcome them. And I think we all have insecurities. And the goal is to overcome them.
yeah.
So what can you tell our audience some ways where you can maybe reframe the things that make you insecure and how can you be more positive and confident?
So the way I did it was taking this course obviously helped me to push myself out of my comfort zone. But some of the things that I did was with the network marketing stuff, pushing myself to do tasks like talking to people. I am still kind of an introvert, so it takes a little bit for me to be able to talk to people, to kind of put myself out there, just because of things in my past that I have worked through. Um, Another thing is pushing myself to go and teach and really bring, um, to be able to touch people, really, or reach people in their situations. Helped to pull myself out of there too, listening to people, um, and helping them work through their different struggles. The company that I work with is health and wellness, so you really have to listen to people and see where they're coming from.
Brandy, I would like to ask a question. As a mindset coach, you
Mm-hmm.
are, as a stay-at-home mom. I am sure about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we've got some stay-at-home moms or some, part-time working moms that the family at home is still their main point, and they come to you and they say, I am tired. I am stressed. Everything gives me anxiety. I have no friends. My husband is, our marriage is struggling. They just come to you with this big ball. How do you unravel that and say, let me help you be the best version of you? Because we all have that inside of us. We just forget it's there.
Well, I go through a series of, I do have a coaching business on the side of everything else that I do. And I start with some main questions on how, what are some things that you can do that you can get by yourself? Like, because me time, seriously, I'm a mother of three, and I am a stay-at-home mom. All three of my kids are in school now. So I try to get down to what can you do, whether it's getting up 15 minutes earlier in the morning, or staying up 15 minutes later at night, and just relishing in the peace and quiet. Ask yourself where you can insert these little pockets of time so that you can focus on you. And do you exercise? Do you can hire a babysitter for an hour every once in a while? Are you really talking to your husband about things? Back in 15, that's where I struggled. That's where I was like really into my business, and I was trying to get it built. And my marriage, it was rough, and my husband and I had some rough road in front of us. And you really have to be open, and um you really have to make that a priority in your life. um we did go to counseling. I'm not ashamed of that. We went to counseling, and it really did help, and it brought us back together, and it made us stronger as a couple. um so
Yeah, I think we can relate to that. I mean,
yeah.
I've been through that as well. And I'm interrupting April here, but I have one thing because it really felt like it tied in. I saw, internet memes, all of that. It said to the moms who don't say they have enough me time, it isn't that you don't have me time, it's that you don't have healthy boundaries with your children and your family. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
We touched on it a little bit before the break, is setting up the healthy boundaries with family. And, sometimes it's hard for myself. I mean, obviously, we all have boundary issues because we want to give ourselves so much to our family and friends. But sometimes I feel like I'm a selfish parent because I don't feel that I have as many boundary issues, and I have lots of me time, and I'm able to complete several books in a week, do my stained glass, and yet my children are fed and happy and healthy. And I'm going, am I missing something? So, how do I get a friend to have a more healthy boundary with their children instead of being that stressed out mama, living on coffee and wine?
Well, you totally relate there. I live off a lot of coffee, actually. But um, I ask my kids two questions. Do you feel safe? Well, three questions actually. Do you feel safe? Do you feel loved? And do you feel like you're taken care of? And if you get an answer yes on all three of those questions, you need to reevaluate why you feel like you're not a very good parent. Because if that answer right there tells you that you are a very good parent. I think creating boundaries is very important. I actually have my door to the rest of the house is right here, and there's an actual sign on the door that says "Recording, do not enter." And for the most part, my kids will listen. Sometimes they come in and then they realize I'm recording something and they're like, "Oh man," and you see the door slowly close. So it's interesting. But like the saying goes, you treat people, or you treat people how you want to be treated. So that's,
I think that too comes down to organization as well, because we all have the same 24 hours in a day, and you have so much time because you have a system that works for you, because we don't look the same in the mirror.
Right.
So the same system for you may not be the same system for me, but no matter what, we need to organize our time and make everyone feel valuable. That's important to us.
Yes.
I feel.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then I have a big question for you. So I really liked in some notes that you had sent over. I'm not exactly sure how you work with your clients, but I'm sure you set up like a success plan and you do some goal setting and people start to evolve. And my philosophy, I also do something similar as you, is I want my clients to evolve so hard that they have to reintroduce themselves at Walmart, right?
I love it.
And a lot of times your spouse really struggles with that, or even the people closest to you, because as you evolve and you become a better, stronger version of yourself, it forces accountability with the people around you. And they either evolve with you or they are not, and there's one way or the other. And I know you wanted to touch on that, and I think it is just such a great topic, because I think a lot of people blame the people closest to them for their failure, because they don't evolve with them. So expand on that for us.
so yeah, so like in our marriage, my husband did struggle with my personal growth because I was growing faster than what he was comfortable with. And we worked through some of that stuff. One of the things is communication is very, very important. You've got to communicate your feelings, you've got to communicate your schedule, and expectations, like on both sides of it. He needs to, or she needs to, depending on your male or female or married or whatever. Your significant other needs to communicate their expectations, and you do too, and you need to be on common ground, I think, because if you're not, you guys are going to struggle, and it's not fun. I was there, it wasn't fun, and I'm glad that we work through things. And it's not just a one and done, it's a continual process. So
Well, it's interesting that you both see that, because I wouldn't have thought of that. Like, oh, you're just trying to do better and improve as you go along, and so life gets better. But you see that too, April, right? Like Brandy's saying, where
Oh, yeah.
So
one
much.
person is evolving and the other person is
Yeah.
like, no. I liked you the way you were before.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's okay for a person to evolve too. I mean, people have seasons in life. Like it's I think our life is like a beach, and there are rocks that aren't going anywhere, or a cliff that's not going anywhere. But with each tide, there's pebbles that come in and that come out. And I feel like there's people in our lives that do the same as we evolve and we go through seasons. And I feel like God brings the right people in at the right times. But just because we're evolving doesn't mean that we can't support the people around us too. And I think as we become our best person, we have to make sure that the people we love,
Right.
feel supported no matter what, and that their needs are still met too. I think that's really important too in that.
Yeah.
And not get left behind.
Yes,
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Amy.
I've been on both sides. I've been jealous in my early 20s, very jealous of a friend in her 30s that was growing. And I was very jealous of that. I'm like, look at her. She's gorgeous. She's got great style. And here I am struggling in my identity in my 20s, just kind of, what color is my hair this week? And then I've been on the opposite side of the growth of I'm still the same person, even though I'm doing something different. And so one of the biggest things that I went into was martial arts. And I was telling Patty that I found myself literally in tears the first day as these big tattooed gentlemen come in. And I'm going, they're going to beat me up. Why am I here? I am just this mom that can't do a sit-up, that's overweight, that has a back issue from her last pregnancy. And I ended up becoming one of the assistant instructors 2 years later. What do you say to that mom sitting in that space that is having that epitome of tattooed guys coming into her brain and scaring the bejesus out of her? How do you lift that scared person up that feels that they can't get out of where they're at?
I would say, first of all, why you are unique, and you are at at your at your level, you're at the bottom level, and you are only going to go up. Don't focus so much on what everybody else is at. Focus on where you are and how you can improve you.
You know, you mentioned that earlier, Brandy, because you talked about how people, you said you started network marketing. And just real quick, so what's the name of the company you work with?
Q Sciences.
Key Sciences?
Quintessential Sciences.
Okay, and I know that's about health and wellness, so everything goes in, you know, everything you're doing is all coordinated and goes together well. But when you talk about, and we just only have a minute left, but when you talk about overcoming, like doing something that's out of your comfort zone, because I had a mom who just like, nope, like she wasn't, and I kind of went the opposite. So maybe that's why I parachuted, and I did like, I'm not going to be afraid of anything. And she was afraid of everything. And hear you talk about, I mean, just real quick, what would you say if somebody is like, no, I'm afraid, I'm not going to do that? What would you say to them?
I would say, there's no growth in staying the same. You've got to break out of that comfort zone. So, I follow Mel Robbins in the 5-4-3-2-1 method, and that I would say, do that. Say the 5-4-3-2-1 and just do it. You're going to feel better after you get out of it. Yes, it's scary at the beginning of it, but think of the growth that you're going to get from just that 5 seconds. It does something in your brain that just switches off that fear, and you just push right through it.
That's good to know. We should have done that like when we started on the talk show. When we were so scared, I would have just done 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I needed that
There's
advice
so
back
many
then.
beautiful things that lay on the other side of
Yep.
fear.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel
love that,
you know,
yeah.
faith over fear any day.
Yeah,
Yep.
right.
Yep.
Yes. Well, thank you, Brandy, for joining us. I appreciate it. And once again, you go to brandygetz.com to learn more about Brandy.